High notes absolutely terrify most rational-minded students, but they're surprisingly easy when done right. And today, I'm going to show you how to do that. If you're new around here, well, welcome. My name is Tatiana, this is the Flute Practice, and it's my mission here to offer you clear and impactful teaching on your flute journey, while still encouraging you to have lots of fun. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty around how to create really easy, effortless high notes, I want to go over a little bit of theory to help you understand this, because it's actually very counterintuitive in many ways. Flute playing comes down to two really important concepts: speed of air and angle of air. It's all about how fast or slow the air is and how high or low the angle of the air is hitting your flute. High angle and speed of air allows us to get higher registers on the flute, gives us a louder sound, and usually makes the sound sharper. While lower angle and lower speed of air usually helps us play lower on the flute and will make the sound flatter and softer. But here's the problem: we need to be able to balance out these concepts at all times. We have a video where we go into a lot more detail around this. But for now, we need to understand that there is always a balance of how loud or soft we're playing, what register we're playing in, and the intonation, making sure that it is in tune. And when we're playing in the middle register, the angle and the speed of air are fairly balanced. But as we go into the high register, we usually require a fairly fast speed of air just to get those high notes. So we raise the speed of air, and then generally we want to raise the angle of the air as well, but then it starts to get really sharp and shrill and shrieky, which is probably exactly what some of you have been struggling with. So this is the first really important thing to understand. In the high register, we're going to have to make adjustments to help mitigate some of the issues around intonation and, well, just that shrillness in the high register. And this is where things start to get really surprising. I love this little guy. It's a Numo Pro device. It's got these really cute little fans on here in the front that I find really helpful as a teaching tool to show you all these different angles of air. So we're going to zoom in nice and close here for just a moment so that you can see these fans hopefully moving nicely. And I'm going to start in my normal registers. I usually am blowing somewhere around the yellow, maybe even the red fan from time to time. Very occasionally I'll go up to the blue fan, but really not that often. But I certainly can move between the fans fairly easily. Now, when I'm playing in the very low register, I want to get that angle we said down low. So I'm really going to blow. I can never see if that green fan is going. I think it's moving, but you can hopefully see that green fan going. It's really hard for me to feel if it's moving. But we're going to be getting that green fan, red to green fan moving in the low register. So I had this little discovery, well, playing around with this thing when I first got it. I was imagining playing a really loud, full high note. I always think of that beautiful flute solo in the Brahms Symphony No. 1, this. Which needs to really cut through and be incredibly voluminous and gorgeous and singing and full. So if I imagine doing that on here, I realized that that green fan was moving, which made me stop and think, what? I'm actually lowering the angle of air when I'm playing quite loud in the high register. And this comes back down to this concept of balancing out the angle and the speed for the intonation. So because the speed is really high, because I'm playing really loud and I'm in the high register, I have to lower the angle of the air to balance out the intonation. So this is the theory, and if the theory is overwhelming, again, we have a video down below where we go into a lot more detail on this. But here's what I want you to understand. The things that you are most likely doing while trying to get those high notes is the exact opposite of what you actually should be doing. So let's chat a bit about those things that you're probably doing, because I see it so commonly in many of my students. So commonly I see them squeezing the corners of their mouth, so they're pinching here. I'll see them kind of closing the jaw, tightening up the shoulders and the throat, because you're usually terrified of those high notes. I literally call it a fear of heights for a good reason. And so you get this kind of a thing. Oh my goodness, ouch. Yeah, I don't even want to listen to that. It feels horrible, it sounds horrible, it is so unpleasant, and honestly, it's fairly damaging to your ears. So, those are not the things we want to do. We want to go the exact opposite way. Let's break this down. So, yes, we want to release the embouchure. We actually want to think of space in the mouth. You can think about space between your back teeth, opening up. You can drop that jaw. And of course, we want to release. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But honestly, if you just think about space between your back teeth, just do that. Play your high G or your F again. And just think of that lovely space. It might come out a bit rough at first, but it will immediately, in many of you, help already. So that's the basics, but there is a little more depth to this, and there is a way that I think will make this even easier. So bear with me, because things get possibly even more surprising here in a moment. You see, the more that I work with students, and predominantly with adult students, I find this incredibly impactful, but no doubt for all students, the more I realize that there is almost a little bit of a checklist or a little bit of a formula to dealing with most technical problems. We recently did a whole free workshop. Again, we're going to link you down below. You can go and watch that free workshop, because I genuinely do believe in this process so much, and I want all of you to have access to this to be able to implement it in your own playing. But I realized that very often our problems start with our minds. So we have a thought very often, high notes, I'm terrified of high notes, I can't do this, it's difficult, I'm going to mess this up. So it starts there, which immediately makes our whole body go into a state of tension and panic and stress. So shoulders come up, embouchure locks, throat locks, fingers lock, everything locks up, which affects our breathing, because now we're not breathing nice and full and open. So we kind of pull everything up and in. And then we can do all the right things and release here and, do what I'm telling you to do, but we don't really hear that big of a difference. And if you're thinking, oh, here she goes into that like woo-woo stuff, I just want to take a moment here and say, I have seen a student that was struggling with high notes, and I got all my tools out. Okay, space between the teeth, get her to even open and release the lips a little bit. I had all my tools ready. And then I realized there was a more fundamental issue going on, because she was holding all this tension in her shoulders. And so all I got her to do was just to do some nice shoulder rolls before she played, release those shoulders. And can I tell you, those high notes, they came out so beautifully. So let's break this process down for you. And I want you to try it out. And I think you're going to be quite amazed by the results you're going to get. So first things first, and I'm not going to go into huge detail here, but do just check what is going on in your mind. Are you telling yourself that this is difficult? Are you stressing about it? Do you have a fear of heights? Have you developed this? It's a big reason why I don't teach students high notes too soon, because I don't want to develop that fear of heights. Okay, so just check your thoughts, what's going on there. Then we go into the next step, which is your body. We want to make sure that you're standing in good, balanced alignment. The workshop will be really helpful. We provide you with a whole host of extra resources, but we want to make sure we're standing well. We want to make sure that our flute and our body are positioned correctly so that we're not pulling that flute back, that we have a nice angle of flute to body. And then we want to make sure that we are really breathing well. So are we really breathing, letting that whole abdominal area just release and open up and expand beautifully as we breathe, to get that lovely deep breath without lifting up and hiking up those shoulders. Okay, so those are the three little things: mind, body, breath. Check in on that little list. And then we go into, okay, can I release my cheeks and my jaw? Find that space between the back teeth can be really helpful. Sometimes even just thinking of the yawning feeling. I'm going to throw a bunch of cues at you, and you can try each of them out. Some people find the yawning helps more. Some people find the space between the back teeth helps more. So you just pick one, try it out, see if it helps. But first, mind, body, breath, you've got it. Okay, so we're going to do that. You might even want to just release your front lips a little bit. So you just think of opening up the lips ever so slightly. And then go ahead. Now I want you to allow yourself to make the world's ugliest high note you have ever played. Okay, this is such a critical part of the process, because if you try to get a good note at this point, you're going right back to the mind. You're undoing the body work, the breath, the embouchure. You're just undoing everything we've just done. Okay, so you need to mind, body, breath, finding that nice openness or feeling. And then we're going to play a high note with that feeling. And if you get, yay, I'm proud of you. You've done a great job. Just keep going for the feeling. Many of you, though, immediately will find beautiful, full singing high notes. And to tie this back to the bit of theory we did at the beginning, when you're dropping the jaw, releasing the embouchure, we're actually ensuring that the angle of the air drops naturally and automatically. It is absolutely brilliant because it involves actually just relaxing and releasing, but at the same time, it's doing all the right things that we need to make sure that we get beautiful singing and in tune high notes. No more shrill, no more shrieking. You've got this. If you would like to learn a little bit more about angle and speed of air, you can go right over here, or fantastic 6-step process to really troubleshoot and fix your tone. Alternatively, we're going to encourage you, go check out our free workshop. It's 100% free to help you get on the right track. Happy practicing, and I'll see you over in the next video.